Welcome to Dimension 119, a dimension where anything can happen. Prepare for the strange and unexpected. Enjoy today's episode.
What's going on, everybody? It is Nathan with Dimension 119, and we're back at it again with more Orlunds Magical Mountain Emporium. However, this is Season 2, as we all got our butts kicked last season, and were destroyed. That was not Dave's fault, contrary to popular opinion. Definitely wasn't Dave's fault. He told everybody to turn around, that we couldn't face this giant, and everybody wanted to fight, and everybody else got us killed. Dave is somewhere in the Emporium still alive. That's what I believe in my heart. But we'll leave that up to Steve to find out if any of our characters actually survived that battle, because not all of them actually died in the session. I'm just saying. Steve, it's all yours, bud.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the mountain. Glad to see that we have some brave adventurers that are willing to forego the crucifixion that the party had last time. And they've come up with some new character concepts and some new battle strategies. And now they're going to put themselves to the test with a second round in the Emporium. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into introductions. Let's go ahead and start with Devin.
What's up, guys? Devin. I was Bob the Paladin. Now I'm Phil the Archer. It absolutely was Dave's fault. Dave wanted to go through the portal, and we all felt bad for him, so we helped him. And, we might still be alive, but that's probably not Dave's fault.
You're just upset because Tempest spoke to Dave there at the end and not you.
I was the last person reportedly seen on the battlefield, sir. Anyway, yeah, let's give her another go, guys.
Nice. Rob?
I'm Rob, formerly Nug, the Turtle Monk, and I am now Keel Gaunt, the Hill Dwarf Druid. So, let's see if Wild Shape can help me this time.
Or at least not make you the first PC dead in the next combat.
Well, as long as it's not Dave's fault.
Mike?
I'm Mike. I'm playing a Dragonborn cleric. I formerly was Teeth, the Tiefling rogue scion. And I think we're going to win this time.
Howdy.
He shows.
Oh my god.
We got another player.
Captain
Just in
11th
time.
Hour.
And expect to sleep for like 15 hours a day, but
All right, well, we're in the
I guess
middle
I
of
mean-
introductions, and you're right in time for being the next slot. So go ahead and give us all your character name and a brief introduction.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay, his name is Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. I'm here to save the world.
That's now your character.
All right.
What's your class and race?
I'm a human, just standard human, and I'm a
Christ
wizard.
Jesus is in fact a mage, and he is going to be the pagan god that you will be praying to.
Hey, don't make me get the science out on this, because we had a whole discussion on Facebook about what class Jesus would be.
Well, now we know.
Tempest, of course.
Yeah.
Now we know
I
he's a
guess
spell
that works for
slinging
me.
mofo with a couple levels of fighter.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna get get tricky with it. Do some action surge and stuff.
Well, I hope Jesus
Landon,
crossed
I
him
need
on
your
here.
resting
So
AC as
you
well.
still, yeah, okay. I think it's basically just my armor. I think it's like 13.
And then whatever it is when you cast your mage armor or whatever else. I didn't know if you bought any items that upped your armor class or anything.
No, hopefully I'm not getting hit. But let me.
Well, yeah, that's the point. So to set the scene for you guys, you've actually already completed a few levels of the Emporium. You made it through the first 5 levels and took your respite at the Overlook, and then had the gumption to sally forth again for a second round. And this is actually your second time returning to the Overlook to regain supplies and gather your wits and fortify your resolve for the next leg of the journey. You've actually been here at the Overlook in Brilla and Brutus's fine care for the past 3 days, restocking everything, resting up, nursing wounds, all those fine features, cultivating new spell components, you know, everything else. And you've actually had a plan to disembark the Overlook this morning to begin the next level of the Emporium. You trickle down from your rooms upstairs as the morning dawns, finding a table and everybody breaking their fast. The common room is quite a buzz this morning. There's a multitude of people that are already up. You can see some people are eating and drinking and having a good time. Other people are packing and stowing gear and looking like they're making ready with their final checks. And Brilla, as ever, is beaming with a smile and bustling around the common room serving the patrons.
Sylvan has probably found a spot somewhere during the time they've been in this overlook and has been working his bard craft, whether it be storytelling, some singing, some playing of his bagpipes. He also would be trying to gather any secrets that he can gather about this place at each time they stopped at the overlook.
Well, go ahead and give me a performance check and I guess an investigate check as well. An investigation and a performance.
Would you believe that that's a nat 20 for a total of 31 on performance?
Fake it till you make it.
I actually would believe that because it is 100% in your wheelhouse to roll crits when we're not in combat.
100%. Staying on brand. And what else did you want me to
That's
roll?
right. Never change who you are. Investigation.
It's a 13 investigation.
All right. So over the last 3 days that you've been here at the Overlook, you've actually earned yourself a fine little purse of 36 gold pieces in various coinage as tips from people while you've been playing and narrating stories and everything else. But you've only managed to come across one piece of information, and you actually got it from a gentleman at the coffee bar this morning when you came downstairs and started setting up. He was actually one of the few people that were in the common room before you. And you heard him talking to another gentleman about the infamous knee breakers and how they returned to the Overlook last night beaten and at about a third of their strength.
Do I know this name?
Being a being a bard in this part of the world, it's not uncommon for you to have spun your own variation of a ballad about this infamous group. From what you know of them, just hearing their stories, you've never actually had the moments to meet them in person. You know that it's supposed to be a group of about 50 people, that all of them, that 48 of them are halflings, one of them is a mountain dwarf, and the other one is a gnome. And that they had originally started out as just the gnome and the dwarf, and then they stumbled upon this halfling village that had been raided, and they actually took in the survivors and actually formed themselves into an impromptu mercenary group, and actually started forging a reputation for themselves under this dwarf and gnome's guidance. They've actually become a powerful force in Ankara, and pretty much almost they're almost at the point now to where if they weren't here at the Emporium and they were out in the world, they could actually be being summoned by kings and heirs of different regions to solve problems for them. They're getting ready to hit that well-known stature.
I don't have the impression that these are just it's competition. It's not someone that like we need to watch out for because they're gonna actually break our knees and destroy our chances, unless we cross them or you know.
No, no, you've actually heard just the opposite, that this entire group has an extremely strong set of ethics and morals, and they've actually turned down jobs because the circumstances were cloudy and things like that, and they've actually been known to be extremely fair-handed.
Gotcha.
They're known as the knee breakers because they've taken on a substantial amount of targets that were much larger than them in stature. You know for a fact that they have at least 3 dragon kills accredited to their names.
Sylvan is just taking in that information and as much other information that he can get, whether it's just, you know, talk and stories of other people and just kind of filing that away in his mind and his stories to tell later and things to keep an eye on. And he's definitely keeping his eye out for this group at this point because that sounds like it's going to be, if they're here, that sounds like it's going to be one of our big groups to compete with to actually make it to the center of the dungeon.
Yeah, that's actually one of the more resounding thoughts that you have, is that if anybody should be, you know, prepared for an adventure like this, you would think it'd be that group from the exploits you've heard of them. And to hear this old man say that they came into the Overlook last night beaten and only at a third of their strength, it kind of doesn't resonate as what you've heard about them before.
Gotcha.
Anyone else?
This is our second time at the Overlook, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So you're pretty familiar with the layout. You know pretty much where things are. Brilla and Brutus have met and, seen all of you before and actually recognized you on your second trip in.
For sure. Let's see here. Are you conveying that information that you learned to us?
Yeah, I would at some point whenever we kind of meet up back, meet back up and have dinner,
Right.
lunch, drinks, whatever. I would relay
Yeah.
that information. I imagine this is probably Steve can say otherwise, but I kind of almost imagine that this is not. It's not like a big lore dump. Like this is stuff that we've gotten over the last couple times we've been here. This is
Okay.
pieces here and there. So I imagine you guys are probably familiar with some of it, but I imagine I got the majority of that information this time around, and I've got to finish filling you guys in on it.
Yeah, I don't have anything specific. I'm just gonna I'm gonna have Kilgaunt. I'm gonna find a corner and I'm gonna start preparing spells for when we leave.
Who's the last one of you to awaken most days? Whether you're in the field or whether you're in town, which one of you is the late sleeper?
Landon.
Yeah, I guess me.
Christ Jesus. Well, you're the last one to enter the common room this morning. And from your plans with your companions, you know that you guys are planning on disembarking the Overlook today. So everybody has spent the last day or so making sure to take care of any needs that they have. And when you come down to the common room, you actually see Sylvan, and he's packing up his little kit that he uses to perform, and he's making his way across the common room to a table where you see Kilgant sitting and reading from his book. And then out of the corner of your eye, coming back from the latrine, you can see Phil and Curzon making their way back to the table. Most of the plates are still around the fire pit and still laden with food, so it doesn't appear to you that you're too late for breakfast.
We were not in the latrine together. Just putting that out there.
Holding hands.
Everybody needs a pee buddy. Don't make it weird.
Um, yeah, I'll walk up to the table, still stretching and getting ready for the day. You know, ask everyone if they've ordered food already.
I've already eaten. As
Uh,
usual, you're late.
well, you know, I need my rest.
Yeah.
Well, I still need to eat. I guess I can take it with me, but I guess we'll order some food. Am I the last one to get here?
As
You
always.
Phil would probably have been walking back from the head during a mid breakfast break, so he probably sits down and starts eating his food some more.
Oh, what are you eating?
Yeah,
All the
actually, Chris
breakfast
Jesus,
stuff.
there's still plates of food around the fire, too. So,
Oh, okay. I'll just have a little bit of the free food then.
It's all free.
Yeah, this is for everybody food.
and Brilla eventually makes her way over to the table. Good morning. Do you need anything? And she sets down the 5 oilskin wrap packages of trail tack and fresh water skins that you all requested to be filled upon your departure day.
Um, not anymore, I guess.
Would you care for some coffee before you venture? Or tea?
That'd be nice.
I'll send a pot over.
Better make it 2 for our friend.
Very well. And she actually turns and looks at you, Curzon, and she says, I wonder if I might have a word with you.
Ooh.
What can I do for you?
She says, I don't mean to interrupt your breakfast, and we normally don't ask this of patrons, but we have a few guests that would require a bit of divine aid.
Well, I just happen to specialize in divine aid. In the name of Steve, I will help you.
She says, That is very kind of you, and I'm sure that Commander Gallant of the Knee Breakers would be more than forthcoming with any recompense or any reward you would see fit. If you can, please make your way up to the 5th floor to room 27 and knock twice and let them know that I have sent you.
Okay, I will do that post haste. Then I will probably nudge someone close to me to come with me.
Sylvan's already like watching you, ready to go, gathering up whatever all of his belongings if you're up and going, especially after hearing the information on the knee breakers already. I believe I can be of some assistance as well.
I'd love your help. You're a much better speaker than I.
He says, at your leisure, gentlemen, I'll leave you to it. 5th floor, room 27, knock twice. And she walks off on her way to go get tea for Christ Jesus. JC, that's what we're going to call him.
It's CJ.
Nice. CJ, yeah.
Gee whiz.
What does the H
You
stand
make your
for?
way up.
Ha-
You make your way up to the 5th floor to room 27. And you rap twice on the door, and a small figure clad in plate mail armor pulls the door open, and in a gruff voice, this dwarf looks you both up and down and goes, "What be you for?"
Have you heard the good word, my son?
I forget her name, but we were sent here to provide aid.
We were sent by Brilla. You
Brilla.
should never forget a woman's name,
I
Curzon.
forget everyone's name. That isn't Steve.
And the dwarf looks up at you, Sylvan, and he says, "Rilla sent you? You're here to help?"
Yes, my friend here seems to have some skills that you might need.
"Please, come in." And he steps back and opens the door. You make your way through the doorway into a large room. Looks to be probably 20 by 60. And there's just bunk beds all over the place, but they've pushed them out of the way in the middle of the floor. You see a bunch of makeshift litters, and there are 9 halflings and 1 gnome that are all pallid in color, laying on the floor wrapped in blankets and sweating profusely as the dwarf almost casually whispers, "Damn dogs used poison. We got no antidotes. I'll pay you whatever you want. Save my friends."
Well, Curzon, looks like we are to fix this. We will likely need a rest again before heading on, which means we must wait for CJ again.
I mean, why do you need to wait for me?
You're in the common room, Landon.
Oh. I'm eating.
Yes, I'm drinking tea.
Very
I'm
good.
helping.
Yeah.
Cut to CJ stretching like, I had a good sleep.
Well, we can't just leave these people here to die.
No,
Certainly, there must be something we can do.
we will find a way to help. I'm merely saying that we may have to alter our plans.
All the best plans come to an end.
But rest
And the
assured,
dwarf looks you both up and down and says, "Coinage I have, a favor I'll owe ye. Save my friends, please.
All I require is a secret. Give me that, and I will do my part.
I'll take the coin and the favor, though.
And he actually curls the corner of his mouth upward when you say that, Curzon. Like he's relieved that somebody would actually want something material that he can facilitate. Meanwhile, his eyes never leave you, Sylvan, and he says, "What kind of secret do you seek?"
One that is well kept. Rest assured, it will be kept with me as well, but it must be worth my time.
I tell you what, save my friends. I'll tell you a secret the likes of which you've never heard before and shan't never hear again.
Done. Now, I have Healing Word. I would be happy to cast that as many times as necessary. Um, I have several spell slots I can use for that. Um, Also, if we can procure the components, if need be, if one of them dies, I have Raise Dead as well.
I could use protection from poison, and I think that would help them, assuming that it is poison.
Wouldn't that only help them from being poisoned again? It's not like it's
No,
abolished, is it?
No, protection
I'm not
removes
entirely
poison if you're
sure.
currently
Oh, does it?
poisoned. Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah, I think it
curious.
actually removes the effect too.
Oh, 10-4.
I'm not sure like what the target or anything on it is. I don't know how many targets you could get in it. There are effectively 10 people that are laying on the ground poisoned.
It's you touch a creature. If it's poisoned, you neutralize the poison.
Okay, so you could
And then
repeatedly
for
cast it. What
duration,
level
target
spell is
has
it?
advantage. That is a second level spell. I have 3 slots. 3 slots. I got lots of slots, so I should be able to cast it 10 times, I think.
I'll tell you what, if you cast it at a 6th level slot, you'll be able to clear at 6th level or at 5th level or above, you'll be able to clear all 10 targets with 3 castings. So if you spend 3 spell
Okay.
slots that are above 5th level, you'll be able to clear all 10 targets.
Well, I can cover. I got 2 slots at 5th level, so if the bard could cover the other guys, I think we should have it.
Mine won't actually neutralize the poison unless Steve allows the Healing Word to do that. It's not part of the spell, but I could
Does neither one of
could
you
heal
have
them
less
and give them HP after you took care of the poison, or I could do like a medicine check to see if I can help the poison.
Well, if you only have 2 that are 5th level, you'd be able to clear more than half. So I'd say you'd probably get 7 of them healed and neutralized through that. You could spend lower level slots to cast it again because it is only a 2nd level spell.
Okay. Well, yeah, I should definitely be able to do that then.
And then the bard can go through with his healing word behind you and give everybody hit points back as you're neutralizing the poison in all of them.
I think that is an excellent plan.
Yeah, and I don't imagine like I'm not gonna give them like 1 HP apiece, but I don't imagine that I'm going through and like casting my highest level spell slots on them. I'm just making sure they're stable. Like um probably expend my level 1s and 2 slots just to make sure they're stable enough where they're not they're a little more comfortable and they're not dying anymore.
A 1 hit point keeps you from making death saving throws, and right now that's all the dwarf cares about.
Yeah, but if I want to make sure the secret's gonna be good and not like, yeah, one time I uh, wiped a booger on my teacher's desk or some crap
I
like
shaved
that.
my cousin's beard while he slept, and I told everybody he caught a disease.
Oh, beard lice.
So it
Sounds
takes
awful.
you to probably about the span of an hour to go through your preparations, gather all your spell components, go through the castings of the spell over and over again. But you eventually bring all 10 of these individuals, 9 halflings and 1 gnome, back to consciousness. You see the sweating begin to start to fade from them and the color begin to return to their skin. And the gnome is actually the first one to regain enough strength to speak. And Curzon, you're actually kneeling next to him, uh, neutralizing the poison in another one of the halflings that's laying beside him when his head lolls to the side towards you. And in a croaked whisper, he says, "My thanks to you and the followers of Steve." I
This is
thought I was
necessary.
dead. I might have been. I think I saw the green fields. And the
Well,
dwarf comes rushing
hopefully
over at
you will not
hearing
be
his
there.
voice. "You're alive." He looks to you. "Name your price, Dragonborn." "My friends and I owe you their lives."
I I believe a favor in gold were mentioned earlier. A
"Of
favor
course."
sounds good.
Curzon, he means how much gold?
Oh, gotcha. What do you think is fair for your friends' lives?
"The favor is yours. And I offer you gentlemen 200 gold in recompense for your components and your time. The secret I'll give you as well. But not here."
It wouldn't be very secret if you just asked it around in front of everyone. Where shall we go?
"I like the Overlook. It's a safe place, but I don't believe it's beyond the reach of Orland. So I tell you, as I told your friend, the favor is yours. Wherever you call, we'll come to, and I'll give you the secret."
I'm trusting that you are a man of your word, as this is on your friends' lives.
"I
But
take it you know who we are?"
everyone knows who you are. I've often told
Then,
your stories.
then the name Gallant Helmhand carries enough weight for you to know that my oath will bind me more than any magics on this planet could.
Ah, yes, that is a name I can well trust.
And he actually reaches up onto his leather jerkin because it's peeking out from underneath the slatted plate that he's wearing. And he pulls these 2 metallic studs out of the collar of this piece of leather. And he hands one of them to each of you. And he says, "Whenever you need the favor, pull the stud from an article of clothing you wear and call for the knee breakers, and we'll be there."
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. very much.
He drops a purse in your hand, actually, Sylvan, as he hands you the pin. And he says, "You'll find that to be roughly 200 gold and diamonds, give or take a stone or two. But it'll be over when you weigh it. Guaranteed."
Much appreciated.
And you can see at this point the gnome has actually gotten up to a kneeling position and started casting healing spells into the halflings that are around him that are conscious and breathing again and starting to sit up. And he started dressing wounds and casting little minor healing magics on all of them. And he looks over at the three of you standing there and he says, "Gallant, how'd we make it back here? And where are the damn mounts?" Gallant says, "They're all dead, Perron. And we got back here by stuffing most of you inside of a bag of holding and running. That's how we got back here. Take your rest. We'll talk later." He looks to the two of you and he says, "My thanks again. Now, if you'll excuse me, my friends need time to recover."
Yes, we will be going now. And I'll kind of like lightly usher Curzon towards the door.
I will walk freely to the door. I am happy to be out.
You hear the door close and the magical locks begin ticking and clicking behind you. The rest of you are in the common room, finishing up breakfast and stowing away gears, getting ready for the road, when Curzon and Sylvan come back down the stairs.
I see you guys still have your knees intact. So I take it went well.
Quite.
They don't typically break the knees of those who don't deserve it. It's those that do that must be worried.
So now do we have to worry about a fully healed group of knee breakers to contend with?
To the contrary, they owe us a favor.
Two, actually.
Well, it sounds like we all should have gone, because then it would have been, 5 favors?
Perhaps. Or perhaps this was the way Steve meant it to be.
Did you get any insight on the road that lays ahead?
Well, I know we will face poison.
Poison?
And the knee bakers barely made out with their lives.
So it was poison that took him down.
Indeed.
Sounds like I should have gone up there.
Indeed.
So I'm taking it that you guys cast some spells, and now we gotta wait for y'all to rest.
Again, indeed.
All right, I'm gonna need something stronger than coffee. If we gotta
Luckily,
wait for you guys.
I don't require as much rest as some of the rest of you. I just need a few hours.
Short rest should do me as well.
I can find something to do in the interim.
I said a few hours, not a short rest. I still must rest. I just don't need 8 like some of the others. Or 15 like one of the others.
Well, he's got to move that rock out of the way every morning when he wakes up.
Yeah, it's
That
not
probably
easy.
takes some time.
Don't forget the Roman
You ever tried
guards.
to cross the desert in sandals? Do you know how long it takes to walk up the sand dunes?
40 years.
Yeah. So I don't know how you want to handle this, Steve, because like normally with um with a long rest, like you would sleep, and like I'm an elf, I have to just meditate for 4 hours. So
Right.
I'm assuming that I could still do that pretty much at any time. Whereas like with sleep, you would only do that after, like you wouldn't have an 8 hour sleep and then be up for an hour, expend your spell slots, and then go right back to sleep. So I don't
Right.
know if we spend like the rest of the day here before we take the rest, or how you want to handle that.
Well, that's up to you guys. You can do it in either fashion that you want. You can elect to head off on the next leg and then break a camp somewhere throughout the day, or you can spend another day here at the Overlook before you head out and head out fresh.
Silbin would definitely be in favor of heading out fresh, because that did take a lot of slots to do all that healing.
Same.
But like I said, he only needs about 4 hours. So if there's revelry to be had, it shall be had before the resting occurs.
And Brilla makes her way back over to the table to clear some of the dishes away and to see if anybody needs anything else. And she again expresses her gratitude to the two of you and says that she's going to make a special dinner this evening in honor of both of you, and that if you would be so kind as to play a dirge tonight in your performance, that she's going to honor the hall with a song from the days of yore.
Anything for you, my lady.
Do you actually have all the instruments you're proficient in?
He just carries a bagpipe with him,
Okay.
but I mean, I imagine there's probably people with the other instruments here if we need them for some reason.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that come through the Overlook that just have their own little small versions of instruments that they play themselves. They wouldn't travel the land calling themselves a bard, but they sit around their campfires at night and play flutes and small stringed lutes and drums and all that, depending on where they're from and what they do. But the
I,
day passes by without much cause for concern. The Overlook is as warm and inviting as it always is. You're all still in the common room as it's only probably 8:39 a.m. at this point. The breakfast has been cleared away for a bit now, and most people are just either preparing for their ventures out into the Emporium, or they're still look like they're settled in for at least another day or so. And you all you all have been here before, and you've been here for 3 days now, so you've become accustomed to certain magics that work here in the Overlook and in the Emporium itself. So it doesn't surprise you when out of nowhere you hear the slight clearing of a throat at the double door entryway to the Overlook, and you see Brilla making her way up to a group of about 6 individuals who all drop the hoods of their long black cloaks to reveal ebon skin and ivory hair, and speak in an elegant but strange dialect of common. And they look to Brilla, and Brilla greets them, and and the one in common says, "We seek lodgings and food." And Brilla says, "Yeah, you're welcome to the Overlook. Take a table, and I shall be with you to get your rooms assigned to you and some food in just a moment. Make yourselves comfortable. You're safe here." and she begins to walk away. And everybody give me a perception check.
I rolled a 5.
10.
11.
11.
What was that, Mike?
I rolled a 4.
Yay, failing
Most of
on the
you are
important stuff.
stunning. Most of you are stunningly focused on the fact that it's a bit shocking to see this large of a group of drow just standing openly in one place without them being engaged in some sort of combat with anyone.
There goes the
Most of the
neighborhood.
common room shares that same sentiment with you.
Do we recognize this group from our time here or heard of them or anything? Or it's just some rando group that's made it to where we're at?
It sounds like they're new.
You don't think you've ever seen this group before. And rapidly searching through the catalog of histories you have in your mind, you don't immediately pull to mind any stories of any groups of drow, other than the commonality ones of drow surface raids on elven villages and the deep dark mysteries of the evil elves.
How many females are in the group?
You don't specifically see any females. It appears to be 6 male drow that are pretty well kitted for the road, but all wear these floor length black overcloaks, these hooded black overcloaks that they've just dropped the hoods on.
Okay, so we can rule out an attack from Loth because there's no priestesses here, so that's good. So these guys probably ran away and are trying to make a life for themselves in the Emporium.
That is most likely
Good theory.
true, but it is strange that there are so many of them.
They are rare.
You
Normally,
don't see that every day.
there's a lot here we don't see every day, but
That is also true.
this seems to stand
Well,
out.
well, I for one ain't going over there because I don't care, and I'm still choking on my breakfast.
Do we have a reason to approach at this point?
I mean, we could swap recipes.
Unless they wish to hear the word of Steve.
FYI, Phil was a cook in the King's Army, of course.
The only
Adventure
truly
101.
noble craft to have.
So that's why he went straight to recipes. And he'll do that quite often. Speaking of which, he wants to get a nice chunk of meat from somewhere today so he can make some food for the people who weren't invited to the party.
Gotcha. Rilla can fill an order for you. They have a few different cuts of fresh meat available.
10-4. I'll have to deal with her later.
The common room begins to pick up as the day goes on. More and more people trickle in. On one of her passes by, she realizes that you guys haven't departed yet, and she says, Rilla says to you, to your table, I take it you'll be joining us for another evening of finery before you hit the road?
We wouldn't leave before having that delicious supper you talked about,
Better
as
to
well as
adventure on a full belly.
one more night.
I had a feeling you might. Your rooms are still reserved. Your stones still work. And Brutus has
That they do.
prepared a, a special side of venison for the meal tonight.
I'm gonna look at Rob. Rob, your dude's name is
Keel Gaunt, what you can
Keel
call him.
Gaunt.
Yeah.
Is that one word like tree sap?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one word. Yep.
Okay.
I was like
And
tree sap.
and CJ. So I'll look at Kill Giant and CJ, and I'll be like, what kind of well, I'm gonna more look at CJ because I know that you're a druid and you probably are not much of a meat eater. So I'm gonna say, what kind of cuts are you having tonight? I can also make a vegetarian selection for the more unfortunate of us.
Listen, I may be a druid, but I'm also a dwarf. A little bit of meat once in a while maintains my diet.
Calm down, Ivan and Pykel. I love it. And then I'll just tell her to bring me like a big some kind of roast or something up to my room or whatever so I can get it prepped and come and cook it. So
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Phil, is it?
I
We've been running together for a while now, and you still haven't tried to cook and eat me when I turn into animals. So I think you know what you're doing.
yeah, I mean dwarf doesn't go well with trail rations.
I mean, dwarf on the inside, but you know. So, do we know what room these other people are staying in?
Which other people? You people?
Sobin and Curzon know what room the meat breakers are staying in,
Okay.
but nobody besides Brilla and Brutus know what room the Drow are staying in.
Okay.
Are we concerned with the drow?
I am not.
I'm concerned with everyone around us here.
Yeah, who cares about the stinky elves, dude?
One should always be concerned when the
Them
drow are
doo doo elves.
I
Yeah,
can see what I can find out if we are concerned.
Listen, given what we've been through already, I feel like we should go forth with as much information as possible.
They
I don't
are.
feel like getting stabbed in the back.
Who has hurt you?
How about shot in the back?
perhaps we can learn more through stories.
Perhaps. Was that an animal pun towards the druid?
Meow.
Me wow.
Grr.
Wow. You're so fierce.
If we are indeed concerned with the druid, um, Sylvan will start subtly making his way around the room, kind of starting using the cover of starting one of his impromptu bardic performances and going to different tables and talking to different people and spinning its tail, but at the same time asking subtle questions, kind of hinting towards the drow and seeing if he can gather any information.
Phil wouldn't be concerned at all because these guys, casually walked into the Overlook as a small group like everybody else here, and they dropped their hoods, revealing their identities anyway. So Phil feels like that was rather bold of somebody who was going to plan an attack in the Overlook. I mean, I don't have, and we have no reason to believe that once we walk out the doors that the next group to walk through the doors would be in our same hallway. I mean, I don't think that's happened yet. So, I mean, I'm not personally concerned at all. And you can do whatever you feel is necessary.
It always helps to have more information before moving forward,
I
and it
mean,
can't hurt to know more about the drow.
Silbin's not particularly concerned, but it sounds like there's a couple of us that are afraid they're going to get stabbed in the back by the drow. So I guess I will make my way around and see if I can gather any information.
So you get up and you actually start playing like a collection of like short body tavern songs, and just it's a few chords and a few limericks and the song is over, and then you make a joke at someone's table and have a laugh, and then you go into the next song as you casually walk up to the next group. Go ahead and give me a performance check and a insight check or an
Nine,
investigation check.
19 for performance. It's 22 for going investigation, 21 if we're going insight.
So most of the people that are in this common room have heard you perform at some point over the last few days here in the Overlook. Most of them are commonly friendly with you. A few of them actually chime in with the ending limerick of said song or verse. And people are generally friendly. You get a few tidbits of information here and there, basically just scheduled plans of these smaller groups and when they plan on departing the Overlook, through casual conversation, like, oh, are you going to be here for Brilla's song tonight? Are you staying for Brutus's fine dinner this evening? Just through general talk. And, the one thing that does pop up immediately that you gather, you're actually almost completely across the room from where the drow sit, and you've maneuvered yourself in a line to where your table of companions is in a straight line from you to the drow. And you can see by casually glancing back at your table and not making it overly obvious, you get a clear view of the entire table of the six drow that are sitting there. You can see that the one that's sitting in the middle of the table actually has his head lowered, but his eyes are locked on you, and his lips are moving rapidly, but there's no words that you can hear from this point. But your performance was good enough to where you didn't break stride through the song you were playing, and you finished it out along with the table that you were standing next to. You continue making your way around the room. You're actually getting ready to cross the room next to the big island bar where Brutus serves all the drink. And as you come around the blind side of the bar, you come walking around, and as you step around the corner, you see that Brutus actually has a ceramic shot glass held out pretty much at equal level to where your hand would be on the flute of the pipe as you come around the corner. And it's almost as if he timed it to where you would have the break in the song necessary to reach out and grab the glass if you chose to.
Is this Brutus that's doing that?
Yes.
Yeah, Silbin will take it, shot it. Um, and kind of like lean there as if he's gathering himself again for the next bout, and ask him, "Do you know anything of the drow that just came in a bit ago?"
And he picks the glass up off of the counter and wipes it out with a rag and says, I know two things of the drow. One, they're never to be trusted. And two, it's the first time I've ever seen them in here. And he sets the glass upside down on the bar.
Silbin gives a little half smile and says, "Sounds like that's right in my wheelhouse." And stands back up straight, does a big flashy spin around, facing the room again, um, pipes a couple tunes on the bagpipes, and begins to play like a light march style song over in that direction. It's definitely a tavern song, but it's got that march style, that march beat to it. And he
Yeah,
heads
that
over
up
to the
tempo
drow
to it.
table. And he's making his way around.
And you can
It's
see a
not a
few of them.
lengthy piece, but he's making his way around to where he, once the piece is finished, he's finishing like at that table.
And you can see over the last few steps as you approach their table, a few of them tense up, and one of them actually drops his hands off of the table down into his lap. And the one that had his eyes locked on you, that his lips were moving, like as you stop playing and approach the table in a very eccentric accent of common, he looks you up and down and says, Greetings, performer of the arts.
Greetings, new travelers. What brings you to the Overlook?
The same thing that brings every dog here.
Most of us don't refer to ourselves as dogs.
You're here to receive a reward, correct?
Here to claim one.
Fetching a treat is fetching a treat.
So does that mean you're here to fetch a treat as well?
Of course. What else would be the point in being here?
Guess that makes us kennel brothers then.
Dogs in a yard.
Have you come from a long way?
We've traveled the breadth of Ankara.
That is a long way. You must be weary.
Sometimes.
Do you enjoy the arts?
I did, once upon a time.
Can I bring that enjoyment back?
It's been hundreds of years since I've played. It will most likely be hundreds more after you're gone before I play again.
I was more wondering if I could play something for you that would bring those memories back. Something that would brighten the mood a bit.
I prefer the darkness.
I can do that as well, if that's what you like.
It better suits me, most would say.
Silbin will do something that probably seems rather strange. He begins to fill his pipes with air, getting ready to play, but this tune is not not so much sad, but more dark. Like it's it's the death metal of bagpipe songs essentially. And he's just attempting to get in good with these drow, playing the darkest of tones. And I imagine he's an Eladrin elf, and I imagine he kind of laces a little bit of his magic with this. Not necessarily to the point where they would be charmed, um, but he is trying to show that he's more than just a dog or more than just a surface dweller. Um, just trying to show that there is some similarities there.
Okay, give me a performance check. And do Eladrin have their own language, or is it just considered Elvish?
I'm pretty sure it's just Elvish, but I'll double check. That's a 19 for performance.
Better stop before we have combat, son.
Combat in the Overlook is frowned upon.
Yeah, it's just I speak Common
I
and
mean,
Elvish.
So you start playing, and he looks at the bagpipes quizzically for a moment, and then looks up and makes eye contact with you and says, in Elvish, a dark ballad for a surface dweller. Your knowledge of histories is truly great. A forlorn song most wouldn't know.
I'm not a bard for no reason. I have traveled far and wide to gather my craft, to gather my knowledge. It pays to be able to communicate with many a soul.
And
And
as you
even
say that,
some
the
that
one
don't
that's
have one.
actually sitting on the edge of the table closest to you pulls out a silver colored metallic coin and slaps it down on the table. And as he pulls his hand back, you see it's minted in a strange mint mark that you don't recognize. And in broken common, in a gruff voice, he says, if it pays, take your coin and leave us be to our food.
Keep the coin. I find it pays in other ways. I'm sure, by the looks of you and by the skill of my friends, that we shall meet again in the Overlook. Maybe my songs will be more to your liking then. I bid you adieu. And he gives like a flourishing bow and then begins to walk back over to towards the party's table, playing a lighter tune at this time, like trying to lighten everyone else's mood back up after that kind of dark song.
And you begin to pluck up a faster pace on the pipes to begin this lively tune. And you get probably 5 or 6 steps away from their table, and you hear in Elvish the first elf's voice, almost as if he was walking beside you. And he says, in the Overlook, perhaps we will meet again. Competent travelers are rare these days. Adieu.
And I will head over to the party as I'm finishing my tune.
The common room has begun to fill up quite a bit as the day has gone on. It's now about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and most people that are in the common room are recent arrivals that have only arrived within the last day or so. With you guys having been here for a couple of days, it's fairly easy to pick out the newcomers versus the people that are getting ready to head back out. Brilla comes to the table and says that dinner will be at 7 and that her song will be at 8 and that she has laid out fresh bedding and uh, chamber pots and water for cleanup in all of your rooms.
Well, I've done my job and my part. I believe it's time for the rest of you to pull some weight around here.
What did you do exactly? Other than
Not a
harass this
damn
crew.
thing.
You just bothered those guys while they were eating.
Right. With your loud bagpipes. What was
Clearly
that?
know
Bag
nothing
metal?
of the arts.
Yeah, clearly.
Clearly, I do not. No.
That was depressing as hell. Don't ever do that again.
Everyone's a critic.
I was
Man,
intrigued.
are y'all afraid of the drow?
Bob's
Not
just trying to get a
necessarily.
chunk of meat. He don't
No,
know about
I
Bob,
just
Drow.
choose
Bob,
not to interact with them.
Bob has been resurrected.
Bob's back, guys.
Oh, split personality.
Oh shit. Yeah. Hail Tempest. Phil
If
is trying to
anyone's
fill
gonna
his
be
stomach.
split personality, it has to be the Circle of the Moon Druid because he has to be Moon Knight.
You're absolutely right. Steve, you're muted, buddy.
That's pretty funny, Phil.
Right?
You guys didn't know, but Phil is actually a distant relation to Bob, and being here in the Emporium has brought some memories up of a life that he never knew he had.
Yep. That's why, chasing the tail of the old frost giant.
Well, speaking of Bob and Phil, Bob feels real dead to me.
Right? I mean, he could be. He could not be. We don't know. Bob could be all around us. Why don't you go write a song about that, Playboy?
Write a song called "What About Bob."
What about Bob?
It's all about
Bobby
baby
doesn't
steps.
know.
What happened to Bob?
Right?
Where's Bob?
Starring Bill Murray. What about Bob?
When you're in the dungeon, you take baby steps.
Baby steps to the treasure. Baby steps to the treasure.
Baby steps to the treasure. Oh, Bob made the treasure disappear. This is great.
So the common room continues to fill up, and you actually notice that off in the corner where the stage is, Brilla hasn't only coordinated with you, but there's actually 4 or 5 other people that have begun setting up their instruments in that corner. Uh, Dwarf comes over and sets up a 3-piece drum kit. And then a few minutes later, a human woman comes over and unbuckles a loot case and stands her loot up in the corner. And you see a small halfling come walking up a few minutes later with this horn carved out of animal bone, and he polishes it up and sets it down on this little seat that he pulls up right there.
And Sylvan's just going, I've played that. Proficient in that one. I could probably do that one better. I have not yet learned that one. Pointing at the horn. But like he's he's pointing at most of these instruments and saying that he's either proficient at them or has played them before.
So
And
you're proficient in all these
it
instruments.
continues to pick up tempo and fill up the room. and it gets to be about 6 o'clock when Brilla comes over to the table and inquires as to whether or not you guys would like to eat before the performance or after the performance.
I want to eat before because I'm still cooking for my after.
And she's actually provided you, Phil, with a large beef shank from the shoulder section of a, a decent grade of cow for you to
Does each of these
prepare
little
as you want.
table things have their own like cook fire or
Yes, sir.
no? Yeah, okay. So I mean, Phil's just sitting there, watching the meat and making sure it's good to go. He's like, I'll take some food.
We
You
at
bring it
D&D
food,
And,
I'll
Wasabi,
take some
boys.
food.
Yeah, let's get some food.
and
And
she
more
comes
meat,
back out
please.
a
I've been
few
eating the
minutes
whole time.
later, rolling a cart in front of her and begins setting down these tin cloches in front of each one of you. But then she actually sets a small canvas bag next to you, Phil, and she says, "There's some carrots and some parsnips and some field onions in there if you want them for your meat."
Oh, my meat thanks you. And I reach into my bag of holding and I grab out my pot and I ask her if she could bring me a pitcher of water.
And she pulls two pitchers out from the bottom shelf of the cart, one full of mead and one full of cool, clear water. And she says, "If I can get you anything else, let me know." As she sets down a small wooden platter that's got 3 loaves of fresh baked bread on it in the middle of the table.
Mm.
I'm gonna reach for the pitcher of mead and be like, "You're gonna need one of these for everybody else."
I'll send another card over.
All of a sudden, the pitcher goes flying out of his hands and sticks to the next bar stool over with an arrow out of it because Phil already asked for that mead.
Yeah, I didn't hear you.
Yeah.
There's enough in the pitcher to fill everybody's cup one time.
I'm sure. As long as you don't poke a hole in it, they will fill it again.
Yeah, somebody shot an arrow at it, but
I poke
Just put the
holes, dude.
cups underneath it in rapid succession.
I'm a hole poker.
So tell me something, Silbin. I heard you. I saw you pointing at all those instruments. If you're proficient in all those instruments, why did you choose the bagpipes?
Why would I
Because he
be a.
doesn't like the drow.
Because what?
Because he doesn't like the drow. You're over there to
Because
annoy
drow,
them.
it's a well known fact that drow hate bagpipes.
Well,
It's
apparently
a
they
well
like
known
my
fact that
bagpipes.
Sylvan is a master at his craft, but he had to go with the most conceptually annoying instrument he could, just as his own personal secret to the world.
Well, not only that, but what kind of bard would I be if I just was the same as everyone else? When's the last time you seen a bard walking around with bagpipes?
It happens quite often.
I've
You'd
never
be
seen anyone
surprised.
with an enchanted electrical guitar.
What's electrical?
Don't worry about it. I said it's enchanted. It's beyond you. It's not nature.
You're beyond me.
Damn right.
Curzon, you're actually the first one to remove the cloche, the steel lid from the top of this plate of food, as Brilla's been talking it up all afternoon, and the aroma wafts up from underneath it and just washes over you. And you immediately, upon smelling it, find yourself ravenously hungry. And on this platter is a large pile of cut and roasted vegetables as a bed. And then on top of that is a large shank of venison that is covered in this brown mushroom gravy.
I am just gonna devour that. Like I'm grabbing that thing with both my hands and just burying my face into it.
Easy
not
there,
saying nothing
Curzon.
to.
I don't believe that's all for you.
Well, it is
No,
now.
it is. She delivered one of these to each one of you.
Okay, I was picturing like this
So
huge
look at
platter
my
in the middle of the
personal
table.
pan pizza telling me it's
No,
not all
no,
for me.
these are individual cloches. She set one down in front of each one of you guys.
Gotcha. I was just thinking like he took the whole piece of venison for the table and is just cavemanning it right now.
He's holding a deer.
Yeah.
He is a dragonborn, so I mean, it wouldn't be unlike him to just reach out and rip a devastating amount of meat off of something.
Yeah.
He's
delicious.
he's just got like a haunch of a deer, and he's like those people that just like pull all of that chicken off a wing in one bite. He
All
just
that
does
comes
that with
out
a
is
deer leg.
just a toothpick of a bone left.
And
You're like my ex-wife.
you all, slowly in your own leisure, begin to tuck into your meals. And it's general through the fact that there is no conversation between any of you guys once you actually start eating this food. It's not until the last scraps are gone from these individual trays, which somehow seem to hold more than they should. Seems like every time you set this shank of venison down in order to scoop up some veggies or some gravy, the shank is just as big as it was a few minutes ago. So you eat your fill until the platters are empty, and then you begin to realize that you haven't really spoken any words to each other since you all started eating. And through that few minutes consensus, you all agree that you've become accustomed to the good quality of food that they have here at the Overlook. But this is by far, hands down, across the board, to the man, the best meal any of you have ever eaten.
You see what
Indicated.
Phil,
happens
how
when
come you
help
can't
each
cook
other.
like this?
Because you just ate the pregame. I mean, don't you gotta wait for mine to be done before you talk shit about it. It's still cooking. Like I'm eating, I got half of that shank sticking out my mouth, and I'm sitting there yelling at him because I'm trying to twist my meat over the fire.
I mean, you do have a dragon. What kind of dragonborn are you, Mike?
Black
He's a
dragon.
black
Board.
dragonborn.
Okay.
Oh, then he must hate my bow with everything he has.
Probably.
Probably.
That's why y'all travel together.
Yeah.
He
it's
also
perfect.
must be intelligent enough to decide whether or not it's worth it to have you as an adversary or an ally.
I think he would rather have me as an ally.
Personally, if I knew
Indubitably.
there was some weapon out there that was devastating to my kind, I'd want to keep it in close eye.
Definitely would not want it to be at my back.
In fact, I'd be trying to subtly convince you in what area and direction to point that motherfucker.
Right, and away
Like, yo,
from
bro,
me and
like, I
way
got
over
you.
there.
I'm gonna lead you right over here to these motherfuckers.
Right. I have a compound dragon wing bow, Mikey, and it's modeled after a golden dragon, so it gives me extra radiant damage.
Nice.
So while the bow and the way I picture it is that it's very battle worn and kind of dull, but in a certain light you can still see a good golden sparkle out of it, but not enough to where, like in low light, it would give away my position. Because the fact of the matter is that I'm always invisible.
Well, fuck those gold dragons. I'm a black dragon. We
First
don't
of
give a fuck
all,
about those guys.
first of all,
Just saying.
I wish I could
So-
will my bow to glint.
So your bow would not insult me
Phil?
whatsoever.
You, above all else, at, in this hall right now, are qualified to comment on the quality of this food. And you're actually taken aback by it. Like, you haven't had food this good since you were a raw recruit in the army learning how to cook from the king's cook at that time.
Yeah, and that's why I can barely talk, and it's still sitting in my mouth while I'm sitting there trying to cook my food. Like, god damn it. Like, I'm trying to take hints of the flavor and rummage through my seasoning selection, trying to pin down how I can break this flavor down and try to recreate this shit.
And everybody eats their fill. The rest of the common room actually goes pretty silent too, as more and more of this food is delivered around to the tables and conversations around the room slowly die off. After about 10 or 15 minutes after you guys are done eating, Brilla approaches the table and she looks at Sylvan and she says, "We're going to begin performing in a moment. If you would like to prepare yourself, I will gather the rest of the merrymakers."
I am always prepared for you, Brilla.
And she says, "Very well. We will begin in 5 minutes." And she goes around the room and collects the rest of the people that are going to play. And you all go over there and get set up. And she walks over to the six of you and she hands each one of you a piece of parchment that has the music on it. And you all take a few minutes to go over it. Nothing seems very difficult or very outside of anybody's range to do. It's a very simple song. And she lets you all play it for a few minutes, warming up. And once you guys find your harmony, she actually begins her song. Most of you understand about 60% of this song. Anybody who wants to can make an intelligence check to see if they recognize the secondary language that she is actually splicing into this song as she's singing it.
I'll make that check.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
I'll do the same.
I have a 4.
So,
Oh wait,
Steve,
since we're resting still, I'm gonna go ahead and use the superiority die to re-roll that.
You said intelligence, correct?
Correct. JC, what you
got-
need?
so I know Common, Dwarvish, Elvish, and Gnomish. Just as a heads up, I just know those languages.
Gotcha.
I rolled a 23.
Okay.
My new roll is a 6.
I got a 21.
I got a 6.
I got a 10. I'm too engrossed in the music.
So, JC and Kilgaunt, you both pick up hints of it. Neither one of you fully speak it or understand it fluently, but through the notes of it and through the small things you recognize out of it, you both come to the conclusion that it's actually the native celestial tongue that she's singing in.
Damn it, Bob spoke Celestial. I never even picked languages for Phil. I don't know how to communicate.
Whatever. Angelic hymn.
So the song goes on. It's probably the only one who's got an accurate count of it is Sylvan, but it's probably it's not quite the length of a Tool song, but it's longer than most songs.
So like a Dream Theater song.
Kind of.
Yeah, like
So
it's like
Uh,
early Megadeth.
It's
yeah,
25 minutes, not 30 minutes.
yeah,
Right,
you know
it's
how they
17
wind,
bars, not
you
16.
know how the last 6 minutes of it is them winding you down, but then coming back up, and then winding you down, but then coming back up. That's pretty much what it is.
Oh, sounds brutal.
But the song slowly ends, and a good 85 to 90% of the room just launches off into applause for all of you. Most of you don't realize it, but through the culminatory effect of the meal and the song, you've all effectively gained a bonus +1 to your saving throws for the next 24 hours.
Well, hell yeah.
And that's all saves. It doesn't matter which skill it is. You just have a +1.
Just about to ask that.
So I mean, we're basically just chilling in the inn for a day, right?
yeah.
Yeah, we're having an inside day today.
Having an
For the
inn day.
rest of the night. From what it seems like your party plans on departing in the morning, you were planning on leaving today.
Well, I mean, should we play some bar games or something?
First thing in the morning, CJ.
Yeah, first thing in the morning.
CJ doesn't know what that means.
Morning is relative to CJ.
It is. Morning is when he wakes up.
I feel like time is irrelevant to CJ.
You mean
All
dawn isn't
words.
bedtime?
All words are made up.
All right,
I mean,
everybody
they are.
want to go ahead and take a fiver, go do your bios and have a smoke, whatever else, and we'll meet back here in 5.
Yes, sir.
Sounds like a good plan.
Alrighty. If you need to bio break, need to grab snacks, drinks, go ahead. We'll be back in about 5 minutes, chat. See you there.
BRB.
All right.
A little bit higher.
It's only been a 15-minute 5-minute break, but we're back. See what kind of trouble we can get into now. Steve, it's all yours.
The commotion and the uproar in the common room continues to grow throughout the evening. Most of the people who were playing instruments while Brilla's son continue to play after she goes back to her duties serving the bar. None of you actually notice or can recall exactly when the group of drow got up and left the common room, but their table is actually empty now. And the thing that grabs your attention is the loud calamity of metal shod boots that come trampling down the stairs from upstairs and actually drowned out the music as 50 sets of booted feet come tramping down the stairs and a horde of halflings, a dwarf, and a gnome swell the numbers in the common room. Brilla immediately crosses the room and indicates to Gallant where to put his party so it won't impede traffic and flow to the rest of the parts of the bar. And these halflings and the rest of the illustrious knee breakers settle into a group of about 10 tables along the west wall of the common room.
Holy crap, guys! Is that Wounded Knee over there?
Not anymore, it's not.
Oh,
These are the guys that owe us a favor.
Two
Dos
favors.
Favros. Dos Favros. And they don't owe us; they owe them.
Correct, you are.
How long have
Other,
I been cooking this meat for, Steve?
you're going on about the 6th hour.
All right. I imagine this getting about ready, so I'm gonna cut a big chunk off and I'm gonna test the waters.
The great part
All right.
about this is every time somebody asks you a question, it's like they're praying to Mike Scott.
Oh Lord, Lordy Lord. Oh Steve,
Steve!
help me.
Oh, Steve!
Steve, how long? Steve, how much this cost?
You actually are pleasantly surprised. It's a pretty good mix of your normal style with a bit of influence of the venison that you ate earlier, but you wouldn't say that it's as good as.
I find it hard to imagine right now that anything is going to be as good as that. But I'm
But,
still going to
but you're
grab.
definitely happy with the seasoning rub that you've concocted for it. You
I'm going
definitely
to.
file it away in your recipes.
I'm gonna start grabbing plates from in front of all these guys I'm sitting with, and I'm gonna start grabbing them some of this food, and I'm gonna
Okay.
start handing it out.
So, what did you cook?
It's a big beef flank.
Yeah, it's a big beef shoulder and carrots and potatoes and onion and field onions, or carrots, parsnips, and field onions.
I could eat again.
Can I get some more of that mushroom gravy?
Don't you dare put that shit on top of my food. I will kill you where you sit.
What's
Unfortunately,
wrong?
when they make a meal like that at the Overlook, they do a head count and it's made in individual plates.
Like it's just try it without it. Trust me.
Maybe Phil can get the recipe for the gravy.
Phil already has it wrote down in his book from eating it one time.
So the night passes by at a fair pace, and before you know it, you all are beginning to draw on the fact that you've been going all day, even though you haven't gone anywhere. Your body feels tired and worn out from being seated most of the day and stuffing yourselves. It feels almost as if it would after eating a big holiday meal. You're just kind of got the itis and you're ready to go lay down. Most of the rest of the common room is beginning to filter out, feeling the same way, which is surprisingly early because any of you that have any concept of time would realize that it's probably only early evening. And most of these people are filtering upstairs for bed and buckling down into their last few tankards.
Phil is going to pull out his little deck of cards and his little pipe and his little weed box, and he's gonna start shuffling his cards. And he's gonna look around the table and ask if anyone wants to play a game.
Would you like to play a game?
I mean, I'll play.
Sure,
Yeah.
let's roll.
Why not? Can I hit that?
Are we playing for money?
That's what it's called. Is can I hit that?
Nice.
We can play for money.
I'm down.
Well, you're gonna have
Sylvan's
to tell
down.
us how to play there.
Yeah.
Little blinds of silver, big blinds of gold.
Yeah, you just you roll a d20, and whoever has the highest one wins.
Pretty good
Those
game.
are the rules.
We're shooting dice in the Overlook?
Yeah, in card form.
Fair enough.
I imagine it would be some weird form of poker or.
Do we
something like
trust?
that.
Do we trust this Phil dude enough to not have rigged the deck in his own favor?
Well, you're still alive because of me, I assume. So
You guys have been traveling for a while. It's not unlike him to have pulled out a deck of cards or some dice or something around the campfire and been like, let's kill some time.
yeah, I'm a cook in the King's Army, bro. This is life. I cooked food. I ate a bunch of food. Now it's time for some cards.
Some revelry.
Yep.
Sylvan is proficient with playing card decks. Does that give him any kind of benefits to
I
this
mean,
game?
that's the only benefits that I have.
I guess you can roll an advantage.
All right, so listen, this is the way we'll do this. Anybody who's got proficiency with a gaming set, whether you chose cards or dice or a Saba board or checkers or Go Fish or whatever you chose, if for some reason through your background or class or anything else you've gathered proficiency with a gaming set, you get your proficiency bonus on the D20 roll. If you don't, you get a flat D20 roll.
Nice.
Ties are re-rolled, and you roll until somebody wins.
All right, first hand will be 5 gold.
Okay.
Down.
I guess.
Alright.
So I guess everybody make your roll.
Alrighty.
I rolled a 3.
Okay, Mikey's gone.
16.
That's pretty good.
Rolled a 1.
17.
23
What are you adding to it?
plus
There's
4.
proficiency bonus.
Oh, gotcha.
I rolled a 19. I have a plus 4.
I thought we were
First-
just straight rolling. Yeah, okay, that makes
The
sense.
first hand goes to Phil.
Wow, you're
Sylvan
pretty
will
good
put
at this
down
game.
5 more gold.
Yeah, well, the second hand is 10 gold, bro.
Oh, fuck off. We're playing for 5 gold.
I don't think that's how betting works.
It is in this game.
Well, I just won 5 gold. Let's make the next one 10 gold. I don't think so.
Okay, fine. 5 gold and meal privileges. Can I have an inspiration point?
All right. I rolled a 19.
I rolled a 14.
Aha! I rolled a 12.
18.
18.
Let's
Nice.
go.
Kaiser
The
reroll.
second hand goes to JC.
So is that 25 gold?
Yes.
Since there's 5 of us? Okay.
But it's actually 20 because 5 of it you lost on the last hand.
Well,
And
yeah,
5
but I
of it-
took that out.
It would be 15 because 5 of it was your own bet and 5 of it you lost on the last hand. So you'd be up 15 gold.
Yeah, okay.
He's just over here cheating.
I know all.
Let's turn turn this water into some meat.
And you guys are actually engrossed in playing this card game and you don't actually notice but the last few steps as 5 halflings and a gnome approach your table and they wait for you guys to finish laying out your hand that you had played and they're like, we don't mean to disturb you, but we just wanted to know if we could buy you guys around.
Say, only if you want to eat some of this meat right here.
Easy
And
now.
all
He means the
and
food.
all 5
You're
halfling
not
heads
far.
poke up a little further. Huh? Food?
He does mean the food that he cooked.
Of course I do.
He is referring to that. Just to be clear.
If you guys stick around long enough, we might be having some druid.
And the gnome says, no, we appreciate it. We don't want to intrude. We just wanted to know if we could buy you guys around.
Have a seat.
And a plate. You don't come to a cook's table and refuse food.
And one of the halflings actually elbows the gnome in the back. And the 5 halflings are all wearing this banded splint mail. And the gnome is wearing this heavy leather jerkin that's got all these little badges and weird things pinned all over it. And he stumbles forward a step and looks at the halfling and he goes, okay. Drinks. And they all filter up around the table as you guys shift to make room as they pull chairs up from a surrounding table.
So everyone's sitting down and I'm grabbing at extra plates and stuff I assume that I have for no reason. And I start dishing up food and you just hear me go into story mode. You never trust a man that won't eat with you at your own table. And it starts. My old cooking master used to tell me that all the time. And fucking slapping food in bowls and throw them in front of people. He looked a lot like you. He did. He was a little taller though on one side.
And none of the halflings, they all appear to have like almost the exact same response and expression. They all just smile and take the plate from you and immediately tuck into it. And the gnome takes the plate from you and he goes, a cook I take you to be.
A cook I am. That's
And he
why I
sticks
said
his fork
a cook's
back
table.
into the steak of meat and he puts the plate in his other hand and he extends this gloved hand out to you and he says, Namoa, party cleric. Nice to meet you.
Phil, party cook, party goer. Then
And he looks across the table to Curzon and Silbin in turn, and he goes, "I didn't get a chance to get your names before."
Curzon.
Silbin.
And he introduces himself, and then he looks to the rest of you guys and he goes, "Well, if your friends are theirs, you must be pretty good folk. Nice to meet you." And at this point, Brilla comes walking up to the table, and he looks at her and he goes, "Whatever they want to drink, it's on me."
I'll drink an ale with my new friends.
Silbin's fine with L as well.
More mead, please.
Mead.
And she takes the orders around the table and heads off to go retrieve drinks. And Namoa says, "How long you guys been at the Emporium?"
Oh, a few days or so.
It's been more than a few days.
Well, whatever. Time flies when you're having fun.
Indeed.
You can't see the night sky from the Emporium. I don't know what day it is.
See, this
don't
is
know.
our third visit to the Overlook. So that's about all I can tell you.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only way we found to keep in time, too. It's hard when you're underground.
Yeah, but then you look forward to moments like this, and I'll take another big bite out of my meat shank.
And he nods and takes another scoop of food off the plate. None of the halflings have broken stride. They're almost eating in unison. He says, "Well, it's been, well, we left out of our fourth visit to the Overlook. We almost didn't make it back for this fifth one."
Tell us, what did you face?
He says, "Well, as I'm sure you have, there's all kinds of amazing and unexplainable things that happen in the Emporium. But the thing that got us the worst were the swamps. That's the last place I remember."
What was it
Swamps?
you encountered in the swamps that had you so beaten?
Hard to say. They struck from cover, usually in the night, while we were fighting the poisons among the wounded. We'd usually get hit again.
Harried by groups?
Whatever it was organized. It was intelligent. Highly, let me let me emphasize how highly intelligent it must have been, because without any tone of pride in his voice, he looks at the halflings sitting next to him and says, "My boys are a competent band. Hell, old Noggin, he's got a nose that can smell a trap a mile away."
And it is by Steve's will that you are here now.
Ah,
Langdon owes him one. And Brilla returns with the table drink order, begins setting these large pewter tankards down all over the table, clearing away empty dishes and debris.
I hear tell of another group that was taken to a snowy mountain top when they left the Overlook. There's not much said about what happened, just that that's where they were taken. You say you ventured into a swamp.
And a desert.
But it appeared to be outside of the mountain, correct?
If it was not, it was the most convincing illusion I've ever seen or heard of.
Noted. Thank you.
Well, hell, it's like a mystery vacation, guys.
I had a conversation on my second trip to the Overlook with a group of pirates from the Serpent Isles that said that they visited multiple cities while they were traveling through the Emporium as well. We have yet to see a city, though.
This place will make a very fine tale one day, once I've conquered it.
If the God's will survives it, I'm beginning to think the Emporium is more than a place.
Everywhere is a place, even if it's unfamiliar or disconnected. It's still a place.
Perhaps this place has a will.
He says, yes, but some places are more than a place as well. Perhaps you've been to the Broken Stones and felt the power there. And Kilgaunt, as soon as he mentions the Broken Stones, your ears immediately perk up. This is a well known, highly sacred place that druids perform rituals on a regular basis to, according to all your knowledge, keep balances in nature. Like, this is like a highly focal magic point for this in Uncall. He upends the last little bit out of his tankard and sets it down. And as his tankard rim hits the table, all five halflings push their chairs back and stand up. And he stands as well and he says, well, I must rejoin my party. But please know you have our thanks, as well as the debt owed to you. And he looks directly at you, Sylvan and Curzon.
We will see each other again, hopefully under better circumstances.
Until we meet again, friends.
And they push their chairs back up to the respective tables and walk back across the common room. So at this point, it's probably closing on about 11 p.m.
Um,
Phil wants to go to bed.
Is there a reason, like, would they completely empty the common room? Or is there still generally people down here at all times?
Oh yeah, it's always open. It's just a matter of personal preference.
I think Silbin would just find like a quiet corner here in the common room and do his meditations down here instead of taking up a room. He'd leave a room open for someone else because he's still aware of what's going on around him loosely while he's doing his meditations.
Curzon would definitely go to his room. He'd want to perform his prayers to Steve.
Steve.
Everybody
Love it.
gets their belongings collected and makes their way off to their respective areas to rest for the evening or trance for a few hours as respectively needed. And you all wake up bright and early the next morning. Surprisingly, even CJ is up before breakfast.
Maybe Phil's cooking
Dang.
wasn't so great if CJ's feeling that way.
You mean that was
And
amazing and it invigorated him?
even he's up before breakfast is fully served. And you guys scarf down an early morning meal while you formulate the last minute plans for your exodus of the Overlook. Stowing your gear and leaving the safety of the Overlook is a forlorn feeling, especially with the conversations that some of you have had with some of the other patrons recently. The familiar wash of gray stone, softly illuminated by blue magical glow, encompasses each one of you as you pass the magical barrier from the entrance to the Overlook back into the Emporium. These stone walls almost have a familiar feeling to them as they're becoming the most consistent thing you've seen throughout your journeys in the Emporium. Everybody give me a perception roll. Who has dark vision? Who does not?
Silbin has dark vision.
And what is your marching order?
Phil does not have any kind of vision.
15
He's
for
blind?
perception.
My perception is 19.
So you want a perception roll? I don't have dark vision.
12. And no dark vision that I know of.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Perception
guys.
roll.
Come
no
on.
dark vision. And my
JC
perception
doesn't have dark vision either.
is a 7.
My perception roll is a 24 without dark vision.
You guys realize we're in a dungeon inside a mountain, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm just a regular old wizard.
I thought I was in a field.
I have
Well,
extraordinary battle senses.
Most of this dungeon has been illuminated magically, and all of it would be considered low light vision. I don't know if any of you want to light torches. I don't know if any of you want to cast light spells. Obviously, Sylvan's not worried about it. He can see in the dark.
I'm gonna put on my goggles of night vision.
Okay.
I mean, I was also thinking about buying a set of those as well.
Okay.
But I don't know if I have the money for it just yet.
Look up the cost on it. And what is effectively your marching order?
I guess
We got
since
we got Kilgrant with a 24 perception, and we got JC with a 19 perception.
I would imagine I'm probably last, maybe second to last.
Silbin, if no one else wants to go first, Silbin can stealthily creep forward, and see what he can see. Kind of stay out of, if they're lighting torches or anything, kind of stay out of that light as best he can, or at least out of where he can keep seeing forward with his dark vision and not having it ruined by torchlight.
Just so you know, Phil, goggles of night are uncommon wondrous items. So what's that? 500 gold.
What I just looked up, they said they're 2,000 gold.
Depends on what.
So that's a DM decision.
Right.
What site did you pull that from?
Okay.
Where is it? It was just off of Google. I just Googled how much
on,
are
I'll-
goggles at night.
I'll see if they have a price
I
on
mean,
D&D Beyond.
Goggles of night is on roll 20, but it's only listing as a uncommon wondrous item.
All right,
just
at
assumed.
5e Magic Shop, it says 101 to 500 gold.
Yeah. I was like 2,000 seems high, and I thought uncommon ranges from like over 100 gold to like almost 1,000 gold, and then goes up from there depending on rarity and all that other shit. You could, I don't know what your gold piece count is yourself, but if you have 500 gold, you could have easily bought yourself a set. They're
I
one
do.
of the more common magic items that's produced by the mage in the Overlook, because there's a lot of people that make their way into the Emporium thinking they're going to go in and win this thing and can't see past the front gates.
Yep. I do have enough, and I would have done that. Getting ready to go into the Emporium.
Yeah, you could have done that on your first trip through, or your second trip through the Overlook itself.
Yep.
I feel like I would have bought some goggles by now if I didn't naturally have dark vision. Otherwise, I'm constantly wild shaping into creatures that happen.
Yeah, but all your items transmog with you when you wild shape, so it's not like it wouldn't be beneficial to have it and be attuned to it for the moments when you're not.
Right.
So yeah, is that everybody buying goggles of night now? Because
Well,
And that just provide dark vision up to 60 feet?
yeah. No attunement.
Dang,
Strap
those give
them
you an
on.
extra 60 if you already have dark vision. I
Yep.
might have to
Can
consider
we
that.
get those goggles
So
of night in the
still been
Emporium?
thinking about buying a set too.
Well, fuck me, man. Like, if I could have just bought them, I wouldn't have used one of my slots to pick them.
Yeah, I'll do mine. I'll do mine later if I decide on it. Right now, I've already got 60 feet, so it's no big deal.
Okay.
I'll buy a set before we leave.
Okay.
Might as well.
So all of you can see to a range of 60 feet in dark vision. You're all effectively in low light vision because this cavern is illuminated by the blue glow that has followed this great stone throughout the mountain. But all of you immediately recognize, especially you, Kilgant, a rise in temperature, in ambient temperature, and the humidity level of the air itself. You can taste more moisture in the air than you could a few minutes ago when you were inside of the magical bubble that is the Overlook.
All right.
So we got Sylvan up front as the scout. Is that the marching order? And then who's going to be coming in?
Unless
the
somebody
middle
else
rank?
wants to go first now that they all have dark vision.
I'll be in the middle.
I'm going to start ritual casting Find Familiar,
Okay.
and I'm going to summon an owl.
Okay.
So in 10 minutes, I'll scout the
let's
damn
see
thing.
here.
Phil doesn't go on point. He is not a point man.
Okay,
Phil
Sylvan's
is
going
He
first.
does not get the point.
Phil is also hiding, and you don't even know where he is because
Dang.
it's low light vision, and I'm obscured, so you can't see me.
Yeah, Sylvan
I'm
will
just
go first then.
Right now, he looks like that JC guy from or that JT guy from Grandma's Boy. He's got his cloak all pulled up against his face while he's standing against the wall.
Can you see me now?
All right, everyone, the tunnel ahead of you is eerily similar to tunnels you've been in before throughout the Emporium. It's about 20-25 feet wide. It's got a rough ceiling height at any given moment of like 25 to 30 feet above you. And it's well made. It looks like somebody lanced a lane through the mountain. There's only one way to go from here, as you've all appeared at the end of a tunnel where the wall just closes off behind you. As you continue to slowly pace your way down the tunnel after JC Ritual summons his magical owl to him, you guys make your way down the tunnel, and as you're continuing down, you can feel the clamminess on your skin begin to build from the moisture in the air, and all of you begin to hear that droning buzz of what it sounds like when you're in an insect laden area, like a forest or a meadow that's got a lot of bugs in it. Like these sounds, you haven't heard these in you don't know how long, because you've been in the Emporium so long, they just immediately strike a chord in you. You all recognize them as like real live world sounds. Off in the distance, probably a couple 100 feet in front of you, you can see a soft, illuminated patch of stone on the ground where it appears that the roof and ceiling of the tunnel above it is missing, and some sort of light is shining down through onto that ground, but it's too far out at the moment to make any more detail out of it other than something shining light into the tunnel from above, which at this range you can just see that area, even the blue glow from the walls, is drowned out by this light coming through.
Sylvan
Is it
will.
natural light?
Why don't you make a perception check to try to find out, or a survival check to try to find out?
Let's see here. Which one is better? They're both the same. 22.
It appears to be moonlight.
Yay. And that's how far down the tunnel?
Probably about 200 feet down. That's why I said it just looks like a speck of light to you at this point, like it's drowning out all the blue glow down in that tunnel.
feels like we're almost there.
Let's see here. And we don't notice anything else around that area, like immediate.
No, not from this distance. You can't make out any real details.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't see shit, so we need to start moving.
Sylvan will reach back, grab his hood, and raise it over his head. And as he puts his hood up, everybody will note. Anybody that's paying attention will notice that, like, one second he's standing here, the next second he's just like a few inches to the other side as the hood goes up. And he continues to sneak forward. He's gonna try to go sneakily creep forward and see if he sees or hears anything other than these bugs in that
All
direction.
right. Give me a stealth roll.
24.
Okay. You sneak down the tunnel in the direction of the light. You stop maybe 30, 40 yards outside the range of the actual light itself, but you get close enough to where you can see that there's vibrant green undergrowth that overhangs the edge of this break in the ceiling, and moonlight is streaming through this hole down onto the tunnel floor about 30, 40 feet out in front of you. And if you crouch down and look on an angle through the hole, you can see that there's trees that are on an angle from you that appear to be large
Devin.
deciduous trees.
Sorry, Devin, you're like breathing so hard.
Sorry, I thought I had the thing closed and I'm bent over writing.
Somebody's got the mic in their nose.
Yeah.
You know what? Can you hear the coconut?
Phil Vader.
All right.
All right, so I'm gonna go up there and join him, and check out what he's seeing. We've been down here so long; it's good to embrace the moonlight again.
Is this swampy? What we're seeing
Actually,
right now?
give me a perception roll, Kilgan, as you make your way up there.
Okay. 25.
You're almost so focused on this natural light that you almost walk right past Sylvan as he's crouched along the wall, creeping his way up there. And you stop just short of like walking out in front of him. And to answer your question, you don't see any water coming down through this hole or anything that would indicate that you see any large bodies of water up there. You can just kind of on an angle see the upper portion of a bunch of trees.
And this is up through the hole?
Correct.
What's in
And
front
how-
of us?
The tunnel continues on past it.
How high above us is this?
It's about 20 to 25 feet.
Okay. And how big is the hole?
It's the entire diameter of the tunnel, so about 30 feet from side to side,
Oh, okay. So it's like a giant skylight in the tunnel.
pretty much.
Aren't
okay.
aren't we supposed to be going deeper into the mountain? Granted, it is strange that
I
there's a
want to know
hole in
whether
the
this
tunnel.
hole. I want to know whether the hole was magically created, or, are we? Can I throw detect magic?
Sure.
Yeah, I want to see if what we're seeing is actually natural, or if it's an illusion or some shit. All right, so I'm gonna cast detect magic.
So you cast it unopposed. You just begin going through your passes of somatic and material components in order to cast it. And again, all of your companions, odd trinkets and items and armor and weapons all accordingly light up. The stone of the mountain itself glows in that same familiar blue glow. Nothing seems out of place about the hole. You don't see anything emanating from outside. Doesn't appear that the moonlight that's streaming through it is, magical of any nature.
Sometimes a hole is just a hole.
Yep.
Now that's a hole.
Yeah, since it's not magical, I'm gonna walk up the wall and stick my head through the hole.
Okay.
Because I have those slippers of spider climbing. Allows me to
Okay.
walk up walls and across ceilings and shit. So I'm gonna crawl. I'm gonna walk up the wall, stick my head through, and pull out my spyglass and see if I can see further, beyond the hole and see what else is up there.
All right. So you walk over and you stick your hands and your feet to the wall and you activate the magic item and you crawl your way up to the top and grab onto the top lip. You pull yourself up and you look out, and as you look out, you see that it's a grass field around this hole for probably about 30 or 40 feet, and then it's like sparsely populated like scrub brush, and then in every direction as you turn your head around about 50 feet out from this hole begin this circular wall of trees that you're not familiar with what
So it's
species
like a
of
grove.
tree this is. Yeah, like you're in a perfectly cut out circle out of this tree forest.
Okay. And you said I'm not familiar, so I can't make like a nature check or anything.
Correct.
Okay. I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna walk back down, relay this new information. I don't know, but looks like some forestry I'm unfamiliar with out there.
Everyone give me a perception roll.
17.
7.
17.
12.
7.
Two
There an echo
sevens,
in
two
here?
17s, and a 12.
Yep.
All right, so the two 17s, we got Phil and we got JC.
Silbin.
No, I rolled a 7.
Okay.
Silbin.
So Phil and Silbin, you two are the only ones who actually pick it up. Everybody else is focused on Kilgant climbing back down the wall and telling them what he sees. You hear the soft sound of natural feet slapping against the stone floor of the tunnel. Just seconds before, you hear these guttural squeaks coming from the direction you came from and the direction the other side of the hole. So you both get an action, and then everybody's going to roll initiative.
So there's shrieks from both directions.
Correct.
Can I tell anything from these shrieks or these footsteps?
Sure. Give me an insight or investigation.
And look what kind of checks I got.
A 7.
No, you can't. You can't place it right off the bat.
I guess I would like to just ready an attack.
Okay.
Cause something's coming, or ready in action, I should say. Whether I gotta climb out a window or bust an arrow into somebody. I mean, I want to be ready.
Gotcha.
But I'm also hiding. You want me to make stealth checks and shit?
Absolutely. If you want to roll a stealth check, you sure can.
I have advantage on stealth checks
Right.
and disadvantage on perception rolls against me.
Yeah, Sylvan will just pull out his rapier and ready an attack. If something comes and attacks us, he'll attack.
I
Okay.
got a 16 stealth.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Everybody, go ahead and roll your initiative.
18 for Phil.
24.
No, I'm
21.
sorry. 19 for Phil.
I am looking at a 15.
JC,
8.
Yes, sir.
what's your initiative?
19. Or 21, rather. Sorry.
21.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Wait, you normally add your dexterity to your initiative rolls, right?
Yeah, that's where you
Yeah.
get your initiative modifier from.
Well, so I also add my intelligence modifier. So I'm actually like at a 24.
All right. So, what is your What is your? Well, it's actually going to go JC and then Sylvan because I guarantee your dexterity and intelligence is more than Sylvan's modifier combined.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say, Steve?
I'm trying to say Sylvan's inadequate. You're coming up short.
Not the first time he's heard that either.
God dang.
I got a +3 dex, so that's not too shabby.
My dex.
I got an X. So, as this begins to, these little chirps and squawks and squeaks and raspy tones begin to swell and fill the tunnel, out of nowhere, these small wooden spears come launching from both directions down the tunnel, and all of you got to make a reflex saving throw. Don't forget to add your +1 from the benefit of the meal and song.
That would be Dex again, right?
Correct.
9.
Ooh, I got a nat 20 for a 25. Wait, am I efficient? Am I also proficient for a dexterity saving throw, or is it
So
just a reflex?
it's
No,
dexterity.
it's
Yeah, so it's a 29.
I also got a nat 20
Woo!
for a total of 24.
Not too shabby.
Rolled
did anybody get under a 10?
I rolled a 10.
You rolled a 10, but you didn't get under a 10.
Correct.
All right.
I rolled a
Everybody-
9.
Shit.
All right. So everybody except for Curzon avoids the brunt of it, and most of them come up short. But Curzon, you take 3 points. Curzon, you take 3 points of piercing damage as one of these small wooden javelins lodges itself in your right calf. And all of you can see from both sides now that a small wall of shields has begun closing from both directions, and you can see these small reptilian forms chattering with each other and throwing these javelins over the front of the shield wall. Now, both Sylvan and Phil, you have readied actions, and then the order of operations is going to go JC, Sylvan, Phil, me, Kilgant, Curzon. So you two want to spend your held actions. you can now, about 40 feet in each direction down the tunnel. You can see this small wall of shields and these reptilian creatures behind the front wall throwing these javelins over it. Most of you are familiar and world wise enough to recognize them for what they are. These are kobolds.
And they're coming towards the hole from both sides of the hole.
Yeah, they're like coming in a pincer move.
I honestly
The only
thought
way out
I
of
honestly
the
thought
tunnel-
you were gonna send those little fairies after us again.
The quicklings.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things were nasty, dude.
In the direction you were going. Okay. That will definitely find a gap somewhere to push your rapier in between shields. And one of them drops. And as he drops, another guy that's standing behind him steps forward and pulls his shield out of his hands and pushes it back up into place at the front of the shield wall and just steps over his body.
They're that close that he's in melee range.
Yeah, they're only about 40 feet in each direction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So hold on, I'm trying to figure something out. Like, basically the arrangement of this encounter. Are we in like the middle of like a completely surrounding group?
They're coming from both directions down the tunnel that you guys were just traveling down.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. How wide is the tunnel?
The tunnel is 30 foot wide, it's 30 foot tall, and about 20 feet in front of you is a giant hole in the ceiling that goes wall to wall and is about 20 feet in diameter as well,
Perfect. I gotcha.
which Kilgant is saying leads to some sort of glade on the surface when these guys revealed themselves and attacked. So, Phil, you have a held action. What would you like to do with it?
Dude. So the guys are they are actually on the other side of the tunnel where the glade would be, correct? Or are they just coming from the whole area?
No, they're coming from both parts of the same tunnel level that you're on, and the glade is in between. They're getting ready to. They would have crossed underneath the hole, but Sylvan just jumped into melee range with them.
Oh. Um,
Which they're still trying to push forward and close him in with you.
right. So,
You as a group, not you directly.
yeah. So I guess we know what is the other way. It's a dead end. So I guess I'm going to pick a target moving forward.
Well, is it? Because if it was a dead end, where did they come from?
Well, that's a true story too. But didn't we start off in a tunnel with a wall behind us?
You did.
Hmm. Either way, his
But yes,
idea is to go forward.
Sylvan charged forward, continuing down the tunnel towards the hole.
Yeah. So I'm going to take a shot in his direction to try to, you know, minimize attacks towards him.
Pick
So,
off the next closest guy to him as he
yeah.
stabs in at somebody.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, that's not good. so I rolled a nat 1. Firing at my friend. But I'm looking
Okay.
to see what I have.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's
I
the
have a
total
reroll,
modifier?
right? As a fighter, indomitable or something like that. I'm trying to look up if I can redo that. I do have an inspiration point.
I'll be right back.
That's a saving throw.
Uh,
All right, so I'm just going to use my inspiration point. All right.
well, that's why. Yeah. What is your total modifier for that roll, even with it being a natural one?
It'll be a 12.
That actually still hits.
Still hits.
The AC of the kobold.
Oh, really?
Still hits your ass, dude.
Yeah, I
So
guess
you
so.
actually slip, and the shot goes wide and actually would have hit Silbin, but because his cloak portrays him to be a few inches different from where he is, it actually sails right past him as he's recovering from his stabbing thrust of the last kobold, and actually sails down on an angle in over the top of the rising shield and strikes another kobold in the second rank. Roll your damage.
All right. Pull it up here. All right, damage is going to be 15, 21, 26 damage. That's 21 piercing and 5 radiant.
And the arrow actually rips right through the kobold's throat and sticks into the ground. And he actually is only still up because of the press of bodies keeping him from falling. But you see his head lolling around as he's being jostled by the crowd.
It's pretty sick, dude.
So that actually brings us to the top of the initiative order with JC. So you see this transpire, you hear these squawking, growling chirps come from these kobolds, and they start throwing these little wooden javelins, and they're actually coming up short of you because you were in the back of the party and you were some of the last ones to get up to where they stopped at. So you were right in the middle of the pack. But you see Curzon get hit with a javelin, and then you see Sylvan jump off to your right and engage, stabbing and spinning around the front of this attacking rank of kobolds with shields. And then you see Phil take a shot as well, and off to your left from the tunnel, from the area you came, you can see another wall of kobold shields closing the distance towards you.
A cook of the fireballs.
Yeah. So I fireball, and
Okay.
I want to hit the most kobolds and the least amount of allies. So wherever,
So you
however
want
that
to
works.
center the fireball in the center of the tunnel at least 20 feet back from you guys, so that way the blast back doesn't affect you guys, but it catches the whole front ranks and the middle pack of kobolds as it's coming down the hallway.
Perfect.
Okay, what do they need to roll versus your fireball? Dex save of
So
what?
yeah, it says that each creature in a 20-foot radius from that point must make a Dex saving throw. A target takes 8d6 fire on a failed save,
All right,
or
roll
half
your damage. What's the save DC?
it. 1 second. So my spell save DC is 18.
Okay, they fail their save, so go ahead and roll your 8d6.
Um, let's see. It's 33 damage.
And the whole front rank of shield bearers, there are probably 8 of them in total because of their diminutive size and how many they can pack in this 30-foot wide thing while they're carrying these wooden shields. All 8 of them just immediately crisp up, and all the moisture is cooked out of them immediately, and the ones behind them begin shrieking in terror. The ones on the other side of the hole in the ceiling see this fireball go off and hear the shrieking of their companions. At the same time, the fireball illuminates the cavern to where it's pretty well lit. In that, they catch a glimpse of you, Curzon, and everybody kind of looks at the same time, and they all kind of hesitate in the middle of pushing forward and start shrieking at each other. If anybody speaks Draconic, you would understand Kobold speak. And it's basically a mass rambling back and forth of whether or not they should retreat or like try to consolidate their attack, but it's not going according to plan.
I relay this to the others who don't speak Draconic.
Is there anything else you want to do on your turn, JC? Do you want to move? Do you want to bonus action anything?
Nah.
Okay. And that actually brings us to Phil. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. You had the same
Yeah, Sylvan had.
initiative as JC, so it is your turn to act. Phil can't fill these shoes.
How many times did you take my turn last turn game, you sucker? But it was Steve's fault again.
Don't blame the gods.
Oh, it took out probably a good 20, maybe 25 kobolds, but there's in your immediate visual range probably another 40 kobolds between the two sides. Okay. Yep. You need a 12 to hit that. And that is their life pool. So you get just enough of the blade to poke through, to pop another one through in under the arm and up into the lungs, and he starts gurgling as he slumps down behind the shield. Very nice. You want to spend any more movement or bonus action on your turn? All right. That brings us to Phil. Phil, you're up.
Fill her up.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm reading, trying to come up with a plan.
I mean, you're a fighter.
I know, and I'm gonna fight, but I'm coming up with the best way to
So-
fight. Shut up.
That ain't a lot to figure out, dog.
We can't all just kill 20 kobolds with a fireball.
I,
Yes.
Yeah, you just scat at them.
That's insane. Also, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna definitely attack some stuff.
Do
Let's
you
just
go
figure it out.
after the direction that Sylvan went after, or do you go after the other side where this fireball went off?
I figure if there's stragglers that he'll probably take care of those too, and Sylvan is engaged with the enemy, and he could probably use some backup. So I'm going to keep firing in that direction since that's where I was shooting anyway.
Okay.
So I'm going to pick one semi close to Sylvan and pop a shot off.
All right.
So for attack number 1. Yeah, right. Which is good because I even still rolled a 4 for a 15.
That hits.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So that's another dead cobbled.
If you know you're averaging more than 9 hit points,
Oh,
it's
this
a
is
moot point. Like a
yeah.
cow's a
Well, 9 is what I rolled on my base damage
yeah. So
without a modifier.
that's another dead cobble.
Yeah. And give me half of 1 second here because I think I can make a sweeping attack to do damage to another one.
Okay.
When you hit a creature with a melee attack, you can expend a superiority die to attempt to damage another creature with the same attack.
are you swinging a sword?
No, I thought I could do that ranged because it said. Oh wait, it says melee weapon.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah, it's
The
already
old
a magic.
360 no scope on him.
It's already a magic
He's throwing bows.
arrow. Yeah, it's a melee arrow. Yeah,
So he's Yandu. Just
Yandu.
starts whistling.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw! Right. All right. So never mind. I'm just going to attack another one.
Okay.
With the same 15 and pretty much the same damage.
Okay.
And
Do you
that's
want to
it.
move or use a bonus action to try to hide again or anything?
Yes, I want to hide again. Even though I'm pretty sure. It just says if I miss, an enemy can't detect me. It didn't say if I kill him or not.
Okay.
15 hide.
All right.
Or wait, I have advantage. Let me roll another one. Okay, that's a natural 18. So I'm hiding again, and that's my turn.
All right. So that brings us to the kobolds. And the press from both directions has lightened a little bit, significantly more on the side that the fireball went off on. But as they come to a grind and stop, the front rank of shield bearers on the side of you, Sylvan, actually push their shields out like this and start trying to push back against the kobolds behind them. And anybody who speaks Draconic understands that they're calling for a full bore retreat. and the ones on the opposite side, the side the fireball went off on, the last few, chuck their javelins in the direction of the party and begin to turn around and run away. So Curzon, JC, and Kilgant, you're all gonna take javelins attempting to hit you. So JC and Curzon, you both get hit. JC, you take 4 points of piercing damage.
What was the attack roll against me?
It was thrown javelin.
No, what was the attack roll against me? What was the number?
Oh, it was a 19.
I'll shield.
Oh, okay. What's that puts you to a 20, right? And you can
Yeah.
do that as a reaction.
Yep.
Okay, so you're good. It slides off to the side of your silver shield as it manifests in front of you. Curzon, you take 2 points of piercing damage as another one of these little wooden javelins skins across your forearm in between a few plates. And that side of the tunnel begins fully retreating. That brings us to Kilgant.
Okay. Let's see here. So I'm going to shout out. Do we want to let him go?
I mean, no. Are we out of initiative or something?
No, the side that you set the fireball off on, the remaining guys threw their javelins and now they're turning to run away.
Okay.
But it's Kilgant's turn. He's asking verbally if you guys want to let them run or if he should pursue them.
I mean,
Where'd they even come from? We just came from there.
the tunnel, dude. They came from the tunnel.
Right?
So are we letting them go or?
I mean, chase them if you want. Let's
Okay.
kill them.
You're going to be in the middle of a fireball.
I say
In the
let
middle
them
of a
retreat
fireball.
and let's keep moving forward.
Yeah, sure.
So we're going in the other direction.
Correct.
They're
They're
retreating?
running back
Okay.
the way you came from,
Okay.
which, as far as you knew, was a dead end.
Okay. I'm inclined to let them go, but and the other side has already retreated.
No, they're like pushing their shields out and trying to back up, but they're engaged in melee with Sylvan. They're about 20 feet to your right.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna leave the ones that are retreating to go. The ones that are engaged with Sylvan, they're engaged melee with him.
Yeah, like they're within range of him. He's already dropped a few of them, and they're like pressing their shields out, trying to create distance.
Okay.
Okay.
What? Oh, I thought he was talking. I was like, what? I'm gonna go ahead and cast Entangle on that group.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna walk forward maybe 5-10 feet, use my movement, and then just raise up my sickle, kind of shine it in the moonlight, and cast Entangle. So I need a Strength saving throw. Got to beat an 18.
They don't.
Okay, so they're restrained until the spell ends. Yeah, let's see here. Just want to make sure. Restrained by the entangling plants until the spell ends. A creature restrained can use his action to make a strength check against the spell save DC when it's
Try to
their
break
turn.
free.
That's the end of my turn.
Okay. And that brings us to Curzon. To your left, the last 10 or 12 kobolds are fleeing back down the tunnel the direction you came from. And to your right, there's about 20 to 25 kobolds that are entangled in these vines that Sylvan is dancing around in front of, stabbing with his rapier.
I am going to hold my action for now. But I am going to pull out my shield and hold on to that, as well as my mace.
Okay. That brings us to the top of the initiative order with JC.
He's still fighting the ones in melee?
They're all entangled now, and
Yeah.
he was on the front line. He just killed one a second ago when all the vines just sprouted up and grabbed everybody. They're all reacting to the vines and trying to create distance between him and them.
I got you. I will firebolt one of them.
Okay.
Which I think I make a spell attack roll. Right.
Right.
Um. Yeah, spell attack. Okay. So I rolled a 17.
That easily hits.
And we do 16 points of damage.
Dead.
Cool. That's my turn.
And it's at this point, Sylvan, this firebolt comes racing in from one side. An arrow comes racing in from the other side. You're drawing your rapier back out of the throat of one of these kobolds that was trying to duck behind a shield. And you see all these vines erupt out of the ground and the sides of the tunnel and start grasping these kobolds. And you dance back a step just outside their range. And these kobolds let out an ear piercing scream. And most of them throw their shields and their spears and small rusty knives down and start screaming and cowering in fear. And one of the ones in the front line in front of you, in a sibilant voice, reptilian in nature, says in common, Don't kill us. Don't kill us. Take whatever you want. We're just patrol. We're just patrol. Sethbis kills all invaders in her realm. All of you, now that the battle has begun to tweak out of everybody, you all recognize that all of these kobolds, the dead ones and the ones that are still standing here entangled, they all look like normal kobolds, except every one of them has a large green patch of scales that runs right down the ridge of their head. And the kobold that was speaking to you says, Sethimus devours all. You're in her realm. Flee. Flee, or she'll kill you. Sethmis, the worm, the green tongue. Yes. The whole realm is hers. North, in the swamps. She's taken over the whole city. Forest. Just patrol.
You should fireball him.
I say in Draconic, you will lead us.
And in Draconic, it says death silence.
Either way,
Die here.
Man,
they're
get a room.
they're prepared to die. I'm done with them.
Fireball.
I mean, yeah, I don't care.
They're of little use to us. If they are unwilling to lead us, they are of little use to us.
Sounds like we don't need to be led, that it'll be you know, a not so chance meeting either way. So have your fun and let's start moving.
I mean, no, but we can't let them go and possibly alert other, enemies of our position,
All the other ones
or
left.
the dragon for that matter.
Okay. Give me either an attack roll with your rapier or a strength check to pull him out of the vines. I'll accept either one, whether you want to lift him up and cut the vines out from underneath him or whether you want to try to wrench him out. Yes, everybody starts with 1 point. I'd say to hit a static vine between him and the ground on like a cross cut, I'd say that's pretty simple and a 10 would hit. That'd be like swinging a hoe and clearing weed out of a field, you know? And I'm sure you don't need much damage to cut through one of these vines. So you sever the few tendrils that are keeping him tied down and pull him free. He's squawking and flailing. And all of them in squealing again. Okay. What do you guys want to do with the rest of the pack?
I'm willing to defer to the party. party, but these things they're in our way at this point.
I'm willing to let the others take care of it, as I'm more of a healer than a murderer.
Man, I'm making an
I
attack.
will absolutely look the other way.
Check it out. I got a 28 attack roll
Okay.
on one,
Did you get advantage since they're
maybe two.
restrained?
Well, I don't need advantage. Where's my other one? Okay, and that is 9, 10 damage.
So everybody's kind of just standing there figuring out what to do, and Phil just nonchalantly raises his bow, lets an arrow go, and kills a kobold that's restrained there on the front line. And he's like, "Are we gonna fucking stand here all day?" And all the kobolds start screaming again and trying to pull themselves free. What did they need? An 18?
Uh-huh.
None of them make it. They're all just flailing and struggling and screaming. Anybody who speaks Draconic understands the pleas. Everybody else doesn't. And it's the same basic shit. Don't kill me, please. Let me go. I'll tell you whatever you want to know.
Is there anything else we want to know? If these creatures are willing. Right. All right. Whose turn is it?
You guys aren't in initiative order because
okay.
these things are completely restrained.
For sure. Um, I mean, I kind of agree with the no witnesses philosophy because they could go back, these patrols could go back and warn uh, their master or mistress, as it were. Um, but I don't think we should expend any more energy on these creatures. We have a long way to go.
Then put them in a coma. Don't you got a druid coma spell?
I put you in a coma.
Put him in a coma.
You wish.
So, Sylvan, you walk probably 25, 30 feet back down the direction you came from, carrying this kobold. And he's squealing and flailing and pleading in common, "Let me go. I'm not worth it. I'm just patrol." Give me a strength or dex check or, something to continue to hold on to this guy. And you got him with a 3. So you're still holding on to this scrawny little neck of scale and bones. It's like, "Let me go. Where are you taking me?" Okay. Ellendale. He makes it. And he's like, "You don't understand. There's nothing scarier than Sesame. She devours everything."
I firebolted.
You did.
That's fine, man. How this happens?
You want to try again with one of these?
Let's stop trying.
Well, you better go do your scary war dance at him.
Ooga booga.
Maybe just ask him instead of trying to intimidate him. I think they're probably already pretty scared that they can't move. No.
We
Let's,
shall.
let's just cut them down.
Yeah. Let's continue to move.
Yeah, it wouldn't take much for you guys to just pull whatever weapons you had at hand and melee your way through this pack of them. There's only about 18 or so of them left, and they're all physically restrained from the waist down. Most of them have thrown their weapons to the ground, and the others are pretty much just standing there cowering in fear. So, over the next few seconds, everybody just kind of grabs what they have at hand and just starts wading through this sea of vines and kobolds, stabbing and smashing and slashing until everybody's a bloody mess. And most of the vines have been torn out by you guys ripping your way through to the other side. You stand in front of the open tunnel and the skylight leading to the forest glade above.
Well,
I'll kill a few as I walk through.
yeah, I'll have a little taste of murder. A little treat.
In the name
A
of
little
Steve,
taste.
squish.
Oh, sip. I'll have a nibble.
So there is where we're
I mean,
going to
I'm
leave
not
you
gonna.
guys.
I know I killed one
Next session.
unnecessarily, but I'm not
You
gonna
stand
kill
at a choice between going up into the forest glade or continuing down the tunnel. Either way, from what the kobold told you, you have now entered Sesmith's domain.
Well, I can't wait.
Sexmas. Anybody got a compass?
I say we stay in the tunnel.
Yeah, he's called fucking Hilgant.
Yeah, pretty much.
If your goddamn moon druid can't look at the stars and tell you which way is north, he is one shit moon druid.
Not to mention the fact that I have an orb of direction.
That answers my question, you idiots. Why didn't you just say that? Why didn't you list this among our assets in the first place?
So technically, the tunnel does continue north. So does the forest glade outside. So you could traverse through the forest or through the tunnel.
I think I speak for everybody when I say that we've been underground for way too long, and we need to go probably topside and get out in the moonlight.
Some fresh air would do us well.
I think it's a bad idea, but if that's the way you want to go,
All right. Well, that'll be for you to find out if it's a bad idea or not in the next session. So I'm glad everybody made it back for the first episode of season 2 of Orlunds. We'll see how far this group makes it.
Yeah. And
If
sorry
you
about
want to
being
do
late.
any sign offs or anything, go right ahead.
My question is,
My
since that
question.
since that hole is natural and not magical, there's no chance of us getting out there and the hole closing, right? Can we come back in if we want to?
Yeah.
So wait a
and then
second. The hole is like a skylight?
it's
Because I
Correct.
thought it was a hole in the wall that we could walk
It's a
through.
hole in the ceiling.
And then no, I want to just keep going forward. I don't want to climb things.
Oh, I
yeah,
mean
I
that's
thought it
no
was a
issue to me.
hole in
But
the wall. I didn't know it was a ceiling hole. I don't want
No,
to go there.
it's in the ceiling and the moonlight is shining down into the tunnel.
I thought we could see the moonlight shining down through a hole in the wall, you know.
No,
My bad.
ceiling.
So,
You
yeah,
good.
no, I'm glad I didn't try to go through the hole in the wall. That's
I'm gonna try to
great.
run through this
I
hole.
mean, it's pretty open up there. There's a grove of trees.
Man, shut up. Nature boy.
Woo!
The power of Steve compels you.
All right. Well,
uh,
thanks everybody for getting back into another session and everything. And if you're not already subbed to the channels and subscribed and watching on the live stream, then you should be recommending somebody to sub or watch the live stream. And to you guys, man, we'll get in the chat and we'll get another game scheduled for coming up right here directly now that all the preparatory work is done and everybody's got their characters and they're back into the game set and everything. So
Right on. Good game, guys.
you can.
Yeah, good game. Praise Steve.
All hail Steve.
It's good to be back.
Hail Tempest.
Smoke weed every day.
That makes Mikey Steve Angelical.
Nice.